It's important because we're talking about power, the power of we the people. I remember taking a trip to Texas some years ago, and a guy in Texas said something to me about power in America that I will never forget. A guy named Ernie Cortez, who's a Latino organizer in the Southwest, in Texas and New Mexico and Arizona. He said, you know, Rick, they say power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. He said, but powerlessness also corrupts. If we feel we are powerless, it corrupts democracy at the core. In other words, if we, the people, don't exercise our power, don't assert ourselves when we see big money, outside money, foreign money, or we see people tilting elections, we see corruption of our system. If we don't take action, we are disempowering ourselves. And actually, the great news from my reporting around the country, to my surprise, I will have to admit, is that the last 10 years or so, since the famous Supreme Court Citizens United decision in January 2020, has actually been a period of great activism. And John Putner is now doing what he's doing at Take Back Our Republic. During that period, he moved out of the campaign business into the campaign reform business, which is terrific. And there are a lot of other people who've done it. People don't know it, but 2018, the last election year, was the greatest year for political reform in America since the Civil Rights Movement. And I happen to have covered the Civil Rights Movement. That's how long I've been doing this journalism business, back in the 1960s. There were 5 states that adopted gerrymander reform: Michigan and Ohio and Missouri and Utah, were out there doing that. There were 7 states that pushed on voters' rights. There were 4 big cities, Baltimore, Phoenix, Denver, Portland, Oregon, that adopted public funding of campaigns. Up in North Dakota, they passed a reform measure. A bunch of people who called themselves the badass grandmas of North Dakota, a bunch of women in their 70s mobilized a campaign, and Putner was involved up there helping them as well. I mean, it's an amazing thing. It's spreading all over the country. And I think it is actually the Citizens United decision which cut loose the floodgates, as one of the dissenting justices said, Justice Stevens. It cut loose the floodgates of money, and it really upset people all over the country. And you began to see people responding and states responding. In some instances, the leadership of the legislature wrote Congress and said, you've got to have an amendment. We've got to roll back this. We've got to restore the power of Congress and the states to regulate campaign money in political campaigns. And some of them did it through legislative action, and some of them did it through referendums.